Is this what the Phillies need to dominate the NL East? Because the Washington Nationals are reportedly on the verge of handing Dave Dombrowski a massive gift right before opening day. According to Spencer Newsbaum of The Athletic, the Nationals are preparing to offer Rule 5 draft pick Griff McGarry right back to the Philadelphia Phillies. Washington stole him from us back in December, and now, because their bullpen is suddenly too crowded, they are about to return a guy who was once the number 3 overall prospect in our entire pipeline. This is the ultimate stroke of luck for the Phitins, and a classic case of a rebuilding franchise completely mismanaging elite, raw talent. I've been thinking about this all day, and honestly, I can't stop smiling. Philly fans know exactly what I'm talking about. Do you remember the collective groan across the Delaware Valley on December 10th? We were furious. We watched a homegrown kid, a 5th-round pick from the 2021 draft, who rocketed up to AAA, get snatched by a division rival because we couldn't find room to protect him on the 40-man roster. The sports radio lines were melting down. People were screaming that Dombrowski made a fatal error. But look at the temperature of the fan base now. The timeline is flooded with fans laughing at the Nationals. We are watching a poverty franchise in our own division realize they don't have the developmental infrastructure or the big league patience to harness a wild stallion, so they are just going to give him back to the team that drafted him. It's poetic justice. Let's get deep into the analytics here, because you need to understand exactly what Washington is giving up and what we are getting back. Why did the Nationals take him in the first place, and why are they bailing after just 6 spring training appearances? It all comes down to the dichotomy between raw stuff and command. If you look at the advanced metrics, specifically the Stuff Plus models tracked by Thomas Nestico of TJ Stats, Griff McGarry is an absolute freak of nature. For those who don't know, Stuff Plus evaluates the physical characteristics of a pitch: velocity, spin rate, vertical and horizontal movement, where 100 is the major league average. This spring, McGarry had all 3 of his primary pitches grading out above 100. His fastball has explosive life, his slider bites off the table, and his curveball is a legitimate swing-and-miss weapon. He has the pure arsenal of a frontline starter or a high-leverage, late-inning monster. But here is the fatal flaw that terrified the Nationals: the walk rate. In 5 2/3 innings pitched this spring, McGarry issued 5 walks. He has no idea where the ball is going right now. His release point is inconsistent, his mechanics get out of whack from the stretch, and he falls behind in counts. For a team like Washington, trying to evaluate a crowded room of veteran relievers on minor league deals, they simply cannot afford to carry a guy on their active 26-man roster who might walk the bases loaded in a 1-run game. The Rule 5 stipulations are ruthless. You cannot send a Rule 5 pick to the minor leagues. You have to keep him on the active major league roster for the entire 162-game season, or you have to place him on outright waivers and offer him back to his original team for $50,000. Washington looked at that 5.2 innings of erratic command and blinked. Now let's talk about the strategic impact this has on Dave Dombrowski's master plan. This is where the chess match of Major League Baseball gets fascinating. When the Phillies left McGarry unprotected in December, it wasn't because they didn't like his arm. It was a calculated risk. Dombrowski looked at a 40-man roster loaded with World Series-ready talent and decided he couldn't burn a spot on a project arm who needed more time in AAA Lehigh Valley. He gambled that if a team took McGarry, they wouldn't be able to stomach his walk rates for a full season. Dombrowski called their bluff, and he won. Getting McGarry back is a monumental victory for our pitching depth. When he clears waivers and is offered back to us, he doesn't have to go on our 26-man active roster. He doesn't even have to go on our 40-man roster immediately. We can send him straight down to the pitching lab in Clearwater or up to AAA Lehigh Valley to work with our developmental staff. Think about what pitching coach Caleb Cotham has done with erratic, high-velocity arms in the past. Look at Jose Alvarado. Alvarado was a wild, unguided missile when he got to Philadelphia, and Cotham turned him into one of the most terrifying, strike-throwing relievers in the sport. The Phillies have the luxury of time. We don't need McGarry to pitch the 8th inning against the Braves on opening day. We need him to figure out his mechanics in May and June so he can be a secret weapon in September. Look at the landscape of the NL East race. The Atlanta Braves are going to be a juggernaut. The New York Mets are spending money and trying to claw their way back into relevance, and the margins for error are razor thin. To survive the grueling 162-game marathon and secure home field advantage for Red October, you need waves of pitching. You need guys who can come up in August, spot start a doubleheader, or provide 3 innings of bulk relief when the starting rotation is gassed. McGarry represents the ultimate high-ceiling depth piece. If he figures out his command, If he can just get that walk rate down to a manageable 3.5 or 4.0 per 9 innings, his Stuff Plus metrics dictate that he will dominate major league hitters. This reminds me so much of the moves that build dynasties. It's not always the $300 million free agent signings that push you over the edge. Sometimes it's the prospect you reacquire for pennies on the dollar who suddenly clicks in the middle of the summer. Imagine the energy at Citizens Bank Park if a homegrown kid like McGarry finally puts it all together and jogs out of the bullpen in a crucial late-season game. The fanatic dancing on the dugout, the crowd on their feet, and McGarry pumping 98 miles per hour with a wipeout slider. That is the vision. That is why you never give up on elite velocity. And let's take a moment to really dissect the failure of the Washington Nationals here. They are a rebuilding franchise. Their entire existence right now should be predicated on acquiring high-ceiling talent and letting them work through their struggles at the major league level. The fact that they are prioritizing flexibility and veteran journeyman relievers over a 24-year-old with 3 pitches grading over 100 is organizational malpractice. They are terrified of him pitching in low-leverage situations and getting shelled. But what do they have to lose? They aren't winning the World Series. They aren't winning the division. By handing him back to the Phillies, they are actively helping the big bully in their own division get stronger. It is a loser's mentality, and the Phillies are going to make them pay for it for the next half-decade. When you look at the current state of the Phillies bullpen, it is already a terrifying unit. You have elite back-end guys, you have left-handed assassins, and you have multi-inning weapons. Adding a rejuvenated, mechanically sound Griff McGarry to that mix by midsummer would be unfair to the rest of the National League. The Nationals are essentially doing our minor league rehab assignments for us. They took him, let him throw a few innings in Florida, realized pitching development is hard, and are now shipping him back up I-95. My final verdict on this situation is clear. The return of Griff McGarry is a massive, under-the-radar win for the Philadelphia Phillies. It restores our upper-level minor league pitching depth and gives Caleb Cotham another lump of high-velocity clay to mold into a playoff weapon. We are building an absolute monster in South Philly, and the rest of the league is just handing us the pieces. Dave Dombrowski played the Rule 5 draft perfectly, letting another team rent our prospect for spring training just to realize they couldn't handle the heat. Now I want to hear from you. Are you hyped to get Griff McGarry back in the organization, or are you worried that his control issues are unfixable? How much faith do you have in Caleb Cotham to turn this kid into a reliable bullpen arm for a World Series run? Drop your thoughts down in the comments right now. If you are ready to watch this team steamroll the National League, comment, ring the bell, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the Fightin Phils report for the most in-depth, passionate Phillies coverage on the internet, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a breaking story. We are locked in for the entire 2026 season. Ring the bell, and I will see you in the next video.